Good morning and welcome to San Diego People. I'm Alan Denton. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department just finished their January recruitment drive, and they're getting ready to start another one in just a few weeks. Today, several deputies from the Sheriff's Department are here to talk about the career paths that the department offers. I'm joined by Commander Mike Barnett, who runs the Sheriff's Human Resources Bureau, along with Captain Teresa Haidar, who runs the Encinitas Sheriff Station, and Deputy Richard Madden, who works as a recruiter. Welcome to the program today.
Thank you.
Let me begin by finding out the process of recruitment. Take me through the steps to hire a new recruit.
Sure. Well, we open up a recruitment. We typically do it on the first working day of the month. So the next one will be February 2nd between 8 and 5. Folks can go online at joinsdsheriff.net. They fill out an application with the county. They send that in. That's screened to make sure that they meet our minimum qualifications, that they're old enough, that they don't have any criminal problems or anything like that. Then they have to take a written test. It's a statewide test, and they come down to our headquarters to take that. It takes about 2 hours to take the test. After that, if they pass it, and most of them do, but not all, then they start our background process, where they come in and they start telling us all about them, all the jobs they've had, all the places they've lived, their school records, military history, anything that's relevant.
So you really have to do a lot of research on each candidate, don't you? A lot of man hours.
It takes about 4 to 6 months to process a candidate from the time they take that first test until they start an academy, typically. Yeah. And we're working hard the whole time.
Yeah. And female recruits are a big part of this, aren't they?
Absolutely. We're always looking for the female candidate out there in our community. It's important that the Sheriff's Department, reflects the community, which means females. And a lot of women are intimidated sometimes. Maybe law enforcement isn't the field for me, when in actuality the San Diego Sheriff's Department has been a fantastic place as a female for about 20 years now for me. It's given me opportunities, challenges. It's made me grow as a person, as a deputy sheriff. I've been successful enough, and it's been that support with and by the members of this department. And it's just very important that we get the message out there. It's tough. We're going to challenge you, but you can do it, and it's definitely a job worth having and still be able to raise a family. It's doable. It's absolutely doable.
How many applications do you normally see when you start a recruitment class for females? Are there several that want to get into the department?
There are a lot of females. Actually, when I did some of the hiring for the department a few years ago, there is a big interest. It's just a matter of educating them on early on, this is what you should do, this is where you set yourself up, these are the challenges you'll face, and how can they get ready for that? How can they get physically and mentally prepared for the job? And we work with them, we have the physical assessments for them, we work with training, and just kind of, this is what is thrown at you, these are the tools you have as a female that maybe is unique that a man might not have. Sometimes communication issues are better with the female if they don't think their physical prowess would be enough. So we really work with them, and it's a tremendous program that we have.
Mm-hmm. And Deputy Madden, what's your role in the recruitment process?
My role as a recruiter is we go to multiple events, county-wide and sometimes outside of the county as well, looking for candidates to come and join our department. We'll go to career fairs and community events to promote the department and to get it out there that this is a great department to work for.
Mm-hmm. Class-wise, how many do we have in an average class when you start the recruitment process?
An academy will typically have between 30, maybe as many as 50 candidates, depending on the academy, and that takes a lot of applicants to get to that number of cadets.
Yeah. Education-wise, let's talk about that again. I mean, somebody that just finished high school, maybe started college or hasn't started college. How much of a detriment is that if they don't have college? I mean, are they still able to fit the need and fit the role?
Sometimes they are. We certainly encourage everyone to finish their education because that really gives them the best chance of success with us. But what it comes down to is we want our deputies to have a proven track record of success behind them, whether that's in college and in high school before that. Maybe they're coming out of the military or they're coming out of some other profession. If they have done well in what they have done in their life and they've overcome adversity and they have good decision making and they have a clean record behind them, we'd love to talk to them.
When you say a clean record, anybody can jump in on this one. What are we talking? I mean, everybody gets a traffic ticket every now and then for that. What are we talking about when we talk about a clean record?
Certainly no felony convictions. That's disqualifying to be a peace officer anywhere in the state of California. Drug use is always an issue. We're not so much concerned with traffic tickets. We're more concerned with, are they willing to follow the law? If they show that they aren't, then they're really not suitable to be a peace officer. But a traffic ticket here or there, especially if it's quite a while ago, that's not much of a concern to us.
Mm-hmm. And Teresa, what do you see as some of the obstacles when people come into the classes and they really haven't thought it through real good? What are some of the obstacles that they face that they might want to be aware of?
For law enforcement, I think what you have to realize is you have to kind of wear a lot of different hats as a deputy sheriff. You have to know the law. You have to know what's right and wrong. You need to be able to balance when you have community needs versus what the crime trends are. Each city that we contract with is very unique. Getting to know the players in the community, having great communication skills. You have to be an outgoing person. So if you're more of an introverted person, you might have some challenges. We look for people who are outgoing, really enjoy communicating with people, talking to people, because that's really how we do our job. Sharing information, talking to people, having them trust us. Building relationships is essential in law enforcement. And those are some of the things you need to look at, and that's what we'll look at in their backgrounds. Have they been doing that all along? And bottom line, a strong ethical, moral background. So while you might have got a speeding ticket, as a commander saying, definitely not something we're going to say, oh no, you can't come to our department. But by and large, have they been following the rules, obeying the law, have respect for what the laws are, and basically, would someone in the citizen look at that person and say, that is a good, solid citizen, and I'm proud that they're a deputy sheriff, and that's basically what we look for. So making sure that it's not something you just woke up one day and said, you know, I didn't plan for this, you are going to have challenges.
Yeah. Break down, we've got about a minute left, break down what's required of a recruit as far as the classroom and in the field. What can they expect?
Well, I think Deputy Madden, who recently completed a tour at the training academy, would be best suited to handle that question.
Absolutely. When you get selected to become a deputy sheriff, you go to an academy, whichever academy you get selected to go to, and it's not only going to be physically demanding because there is physical training involved in there. You're also taking a high level.
So you need to be in pretty good shape, right?
Absolutely. You can't come to the academy and expect to get in shape. You have to do a lot of preparation in advance. And in recruiting, we also do pre-academy workouts to assist people in getting prepared for the academy. So that's the physical side of it. You have to be able to physically do our job. But in addition to that, there's also a full college, essentially a full college curriculum thrown into that as well. And then you have defensive tactics and firearms. So it's a multifaceted academy, very busy. You have to keep your head on straight. They teach you how to effectively communicate, like the captain was talking about, and so that when you graduate from the academy and you either go to the jails or you go to the streets and push a patrol car, that you're going to be able to do your job effectively, and that's what we try to prepare them for.
All right, we're going to continue our discussion. Thank you for being with us, and we'll have more on with you all in just a few minutes. Well, still ahead on San Diego People, we're going to talk about the careers in the Sheriff's Department, including patrolling, search and rescue, and even disarming bombs. Stay with us for that. Welcome back to San Diego People. This morning we're talking with the people from the San Diego County Sheriff's Department about what they're looking for in new recruits, and I'm joined by Daryl McNeil, Sergeant Don Parker, and Detective John Debus. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. Don, let me begin with you. Your role in the department is what?
Well, for the past 8 years or so now, I've been the search and rescue coordinator. And John and I actually work out of the same umbrella. We work out of emergency services. And my role is to coordinate and activate and keep everything moving smoothly with search and rescue.
How did you know you wanted this as a career path? What led you into search and rescue?
Well, I didn't start out in search and rescue. I started out in the jails. Spent 4 years in jail, and then patrol, some time on the SWAT team, the SRT team, at the academy, got promoted, did patrol, and then when search and rescue, the opportunity came open, and I put in for it.
And you've had some pretty big stories as far as our coverage is concerned when it comes to search and rescue over the years in the county, haven't you?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, some big names and some big rescue operations. John, let me also talk with you. Your role with the bomb and arson unit, that's also a very I guess in some cases rewarding, and also in some cases life-threatening in a way.
Well, it is very rewarding, yeah, and I've enjoyed it a lot. It's exciting.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it about 2 years now, and prior to that I was with our SWAT team for quite a while.
And you've seen a lot of changes. We were talking about the robotics become a part of the bomb and arson unit.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes, and I've always worked closely with the bomb squad, even when I was on the SWAT team, because the two units often work hand in hand. And we've gone from when we had one antiquated robot for the whole team to the point now where we're fielding a robot per detective. So a detective can respond to a scene and deploy a robot and do a lot of the dangerous stuff remotely oftentimes.
Fortunately, so many times these things that you do disarm are not actual bombs, are they? They're items that people have placed to look like a bomb.
That oftentimes is true, but we never know. And
Yeah.
so we have to handle every suspicious package as if it were the real thing.
And Daryl, your role with the department, tell us about that.
Well, right now I'm serving in personnel as a recruiter. However, I have served as a patrol deputy, as well as a field training officer, as well as a psychological emergency response team. And
So you deal one-on-one with new recruits?
yes, I have.
So what do you look for when you're recruiting an individual?
Well, what we're looking for is an individual who is assuring himself of him or herself, who meets some of our standards as far as integrity and passes some of our core values that we've set aside.
So let me ask this as a general question across the board. I mean, for somebody that's thinking about getting into a position or a career path with the Sheriff's Department, what would you tell them?
Well,
Go ahead,
I would
Daryl.
tell, once you're contacted by a recruiter, to be honest. Be honest about your background, be honest about everything. And
Do you find a lot of times that people aren't when they apply for a position?
oh, absolutely. People
Yeah.
are dishonest about certain things. They don't want to let, everything out. They'll give you half of the story and don't let everything out. But be honest and have the mindset that this job is for people who want to help people, people who want to be involved with the community. And if you have to be a selfless person, you can't be selfish because this job requires a lot.
Yeah, and it does require a lot. But people, I see that you all put in a lot of hours, long hours, depending on what's going on in each one of you's different career path that you've chosen. So that's one of the things that new recruits have to remember, too, that it can require long days, right?
Absolutely. Something that I think that all of the folks that have been talking up here, all the deputies, is that we didn't come on to be selfish, and we came on to help. We came on to make a difference. The majority of a patrol deputy's day isn't spent putting people in jail. It's actually spent helping people. You go and you help, even though there may be an argument or something like that, most of the day is spent helping people.
And in each one of you's case, you really never know what your next day is going to be like, do you? I mean, it's always, especially with the bomb and arson unit. I mean, that's.
Yeah, that's one of the rewarding things. I mean, we're on call all the time, so we get called out at the early hours of the morning quite frequently, and but you know what? It is a rewarding job and a rewarding position, and a lot of people don't realize. They may see the patrol deputy out there, but the department is so much larger than that, and there's so many different avenues that you can branch out from there, and that's what people oftentimes maybe don't see.
How many people are there in the bomb and arson unit?
There are 7 detectives and then a supervisor who's also a bomb tech, so there's 8 people that we field.
Well, that's I'm just I can't say enough about how great a job that you fellows do, because you are out there, and as you say, it's more than just about seeing a patrol car. There's a lot more than the Sheriff's Department than just that, isn't there?
That's right, Alan.
Yeah. So, Daryl, let me ask you a little more about the recruiting program, since that's what we're looking at. A new class coming in, I guess, this next year. Is that right, or this year?
Well, we have several academies that start throughout the year. So, I think we got academy in April. We have one in June and also one in October. So.
Yeah. So you have to start enrollment in one of those classes at that point in time to get into the department, right?
Well, absolutely. You have to start the process probably prior 6 months prior to get in that class.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. And how long does the course last again?
Law enforcement side is about 6 months. If you go to detentions, we have 2 different career paths, law enforcement and we have detentions and court services. So if you go to law enforcement side of the house, usually 6 months. Detention side is 4 months.
Who decides that? Does the individual who is choosing the career path decide that, or do you make the decision based on their qualifications?
A lot is decided on their qualifications. What's a better fit for the department? What role would they serve the department best? So that's what's.
Well, that's interesting. And again, a lot of this requires training outside in the field as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And when are they actually put with, or do they go solo in a police cruiser?
Well, they have to go through what is called a field training evolution, where they're in the car with a field training officer, and they go through that for about 4 months. And once they complete that phase, those phases of training, then they will be put in their own patrol car.
And that usually, and then from that point on, they're in a patrol car by themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that training phase process is a very stressful process because you're sitting in the patrol car with someone every day, and he's evaluating every move you make.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to continue our conversation. Gentlemen, thank you. Still ahead on San Diego People, the Sheriff's Department says they need nurses. We're going to tell you more when we come right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to San Diego People. This morning, we are talking with members of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department about what they're looking for in new recruits. I'm joined once again by Commander Mike Barnett, along with Deputy Trissa Tawada, who works as a recruiter, and Nancy Booth, who is a registered nurse and head of all the nurses employed at the department. Thank you all for being with us today. Nancy, let me begin with you. I had no idea that the department employed so many nurses. Tell me about that.
Well, very few people really understand what our scope of practice is within the jail setting. We are our position is within the detentions facility, not certainly in law enforcement out in the fields. But you know, our jails are 24/7, and so we are a part of that operation in both screening and when they first come in, and then treating them and caring for them once they are there.
What do you look for from the standpoint of qualified candidates for the department?
Well, they do have to go through much of the background, not as stringent, but certainly the some of the background that they ask of the require of the sheriffs themselves, the deputies. We look for people that enjoy being a nurse. They need to be patient. These are sometimes rather challenging patients, and they have to have a rather altruistic and a passion for nursing.
What about hours? How are the hours for someone who wants to work in this position?
We have 8-hour positions, of course, 24/7. So we have 3 shifts, and we have both what we call LVNs, which are licensed vocational nurses, and registered nurses.
All right. And Teresa, let me talk with you just a minute. You're into the background checks and other parts with the department. How does your job role fit in with all this?
Well, currently it's a specialized position, so I'm assigned to the Detention Bureau. I'm a background investigator. So
and this is for new recruits, or?
Yes, for sworn deputies. I'm sorry, candidates who are seeking employment as a sworn deputy. So basically, they do the background investigation, and we hire them ultimately.
Is that a pretty detailed investigation that you have to do? Does it take several days, several weeks?
Well, yes, it can take anywhere from 4 months up to a year. We have to screen them out, and they basically go through the process.
What percentage usually are disqualified? How many are disqualified on an annual basis?
We hire about 1%.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, last study does, we hire about 1%.
So some people certainly, as we said in the other segment, aren't really all that honest in some cases in what they put on their applications in,
That's sometimes the case. You know, a lot of it is just decision making. Sometimes it's just time and distance.
Yeah.
A lot of it's case by case, but we do seek out the best. There's a lot of competition, a lot of work involved. There is 10 stages in the hiring process, and they have to pass all of them.
But the one thing about it that, Commander, we talked about earlier, too, is once we're hired with the department, most of those hires stay with the department, don't they?
You know, we're very pleased to say that the majority of the people who leave the department do so with a service retirement, and that's exactly what we want. We want people that are looking for a public safety career, a career where they want to help people and make the community better. And that's largely what we get because of what we're very proud of, our selection process and the caliber of deputy sheriff and registered nurse and licensed vocational nurse and dispatcher and any of the other dozens of professional staff classifications that we have. We're very happy with the people that we hire at the end of that process.
Nancy, a lot of nurses who work in other fields, for instance, hospital, doctor's offices, they don't realize that these opportunities are open with the Sheriff's Department, do they?
You're absolutely right. When people ask and I tell them what I do, they're astounded. They have no idea. And when I explain the scope of our practice, whether it be emergency medicine or med-surg, we have a women's jail, so we have women's health, obstetrics. They're really shocked.
Yeah, I had no idea either that you covered so many areas within the department from the standpoint of a nursing facility. What about doctors? Are also doctors on staff, I assume, as well?
There are. The Sheriff's Department and Medical Services does contract with physicians. So we're on site. We have clinics, specialty clinics, right there within the jails.
And this is primarily for the detention facilities, is that right?
That is correct. It's all for the jails.
Yeah, okay. And Commander, tell me again when the new recruitment class gets underway, or is it underway now?
For our sworn recruitments, we expect to open that on the first business day of the month. February 2nd is the next one. Our recruiters will host an online chat at our Twitter handle of @SDSheriff. Our public emergency service dispatcher classifications for experienced dispatchers is open right now, and we expect to open it up for the trainees, for those looking to get into the field, in March.
Trista, what other departments did you work with before you got into the background department, background checks?
Well, I was assigned to Las Colinas, and then I was able to transfer over to San Diego Central Jail, and I worked there, and I ultimately became a court deputy. And there was another position open that I applied for, and that was recruiting. And then I currently now in background investigations.
Do you find that all these various positions that you held really helped to mold and shape you as the deputy that you wanted to be in, the position you wanted to be in? I mean, it gives you a better feel for what you want to do in the department.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many positions that are available to us. We have canine transportation, multiple detective positions. There's much to do, and I'm able to get my hands on a little bit of everything at a time.
And it does, I guess, Commander, take time for people. Once you get into the department, I guess the first assignment is patrolling, and then from there you kind of figure out what it is you're suited for, right?
All the law enforcement deputies do have to go through a 2-year patrol assignment before they're eligible to apply for specialized positions. But, 2 years of patrol can go by very quickly because it's a very busy assignment. Our detentions deputies similarly spend at least 2 years working in a line assignment, working shift work at the jails, which also can be challenging and rewarding, and it goes by very quickly. And then they can move on to any of our dozens of specialized positions.
Are there any specific specialized positions that you have more applications for than others? I'm curious about that. What stands out?
Yes, absolutely. And I've seen over the years it's kind of ebbed and flowed. Different positions seem to get more interest than others. Certainly some of the homicide positions, child abuse positions, as challenging and as difficult as those assignments are, we get a lot of applications for those.
I guess it's one of those things where people just kind of feel the need and have the desire that that's their passion, don't you think?
I think you're absolutely right, Alan. And the good thing is that we have so many opportunities, and people can really go in a number of different directions. I've had more than a dozen assignments in my career, and every single one of them has been rewarding.
Wow. Well, let me thank you all for being with us today. You've certainly enlightened me on what all happens within the department, because I had no idea it was that entailed in so many different positions that people can apply for.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up for this morning's edition of San Diego People. Be sure to join us for the KUSI News at 6, 10, and 11. Have a great day.